have you ever been the best at something? One local is hoping to become the best performer on the planet after she was chosen to represent Australia at the World Championships of Performing Arts. Indian-Australian Aarti Bajaj will travel to LA to compete in what is often called the Talent Olympics. I could hardly get it out, Aarti. It's so exciting. Tell me about your performing arts journey. How did it all begin for you?
Thank you, Julie, for having me here. Sorry that I have a very bad voice today. My throat's
That's
really...
not what you need when you're a performer, right?
No. Look, my journey as a performing artist started at the age of 8 when my mum took to a proper classical school. So I come from India and migrated to Australia in 2007. I've done my master's in Indian classical dancing, and after coming to Australia, along with my medical side, I'm also a medical sonographer. I started my dance school as well, and we were in Canberra first and then in Gold Coast. So I have a dance school and now a production house as well.
Yeah, really exciting. There's no stopping you. I love that the two things are very different.
That's correct.
The medical side, and then you've got this very creative performing side. You obviously like the balance.
Let's say I like both sides of my brains working.
The left and the right. Fantastic. What was the selection process like to represent Australia?
Well, there are some talent scouts in Australia who look and do auditions for people or performers who want to be, to be chosen. So that's what happened, and I went for auditions, and they recorded me and went through a few processes, and then yes, I get an email that here I am representing Australia next year, 2019.
Fantastic. Tell me about the feeling when you got that email.
It took a few days for me to actually register that, yes, I have been chosen, which is great. And I'm even more excited because the kind of dance that I do is Indian classical and Indian contemporary. So I feel very proud and at the same time very responsible to get the real nothing is real and nothing's unreal, but something that I'm really passionate about. People, more so in Australia, I believe, don't quite yet know the depth of Indian dancing. We always, and nothing's wrong with Bollywood, but we always just when you talk about Indian dancing, it's all about Bollywood. So I take this as an opportunity and a responsibility to show the world how beautiful Indian dancing is.
How would you describe it? Classical Indian dancing that you're speaking of, because of course my mind straight went to Bollywood as well.
That's correct.
That's the image that came into my mind when I thought of Indian dancing.
Yeah. Well, Indian classical dancing is no different than any other ballet, that we know. It took 14 years for me to finish my proper classical training, and I would still say I'm still learning. We have more than 8 Indian classical dance forms which have proper literature and stuff like that, and then now obviously with time a lot of contemporary evolution is happening in it as well. So it has a lot of depth. It has got lots of colour, lots of stories, lots of literature, everything with it.
9:15, 91.7 ABC Gold Coast. I'm speaking with Aarti Bajaj, who's travelling to LA to compete in what is often called the Talent Olympics. She'll be representing Australia at the World Championships of Performing Arts. The competition itself, what does it entail?
There are multiple different categories, and I will be competing in the adults category, of course, and or as a solo. There are solos, groups, and then again, all sorts of performing arts can be showcased. I will be more as a solo performer doing Indian classical, Indian contemporary, lyrical, and stuff like that.
So the preparation then, what does that involve?
As I'm a solo, so the preparation involves myself, but at the moment I am all focused on 4th of November, which is this Sunday.
This Sunday, because you've got a big performance coming up at HOTA.
Yeah, well, it's just not a performance, it's my life. I have put in my 15 years of research and everything in this production, which is our first maiden venture. So my production house is called Wild Dreamer Productions, and this is a labour of love since past 15 years, and 18 months in making, and over 300 cast and crew involved. and we're all set to take HOTA and Gold Coast and Brisbane, blown away with
By
magic.
storm.
Yeah.
The name, and tell me more. I mean, you've said there it's about your life and these many years you've put into it, but tell us more about what it actually will be like watching that performance.
Would love to tell you everything about it. Well, MEERA happened to me 14 to 15 years ago when I was selected to perform in a little TV series back home in India, and the story is so intriguing. It comes from 16th century of northern Indian family. When I read about it, it's very intriguing. It's very different. It's a love story between mortals and immortals. And being an artist, I always wanted to bring that on stage. It took a little while for me to do the research before I knew life happens. So I migrated to Australia with my husband, and in the process of making kids and doing academics and all sorts of other things. So finally, we signed HOTA in April 2017. And the first date that I got for HOTA was 4th of November 2018. And when I literally signed, I had no idea how the journey is going to be. I actually went there to sign in for an annual function for my dance school. But when I went there, I was seeing Peter Pan being set up on the stage, and the lady tells me, "So what exactly are you here for to hire?" And I said, I was supposed to say for an annual function, but I said, we're actually doing a production called MEERA. And I didn't want to change that thought. So I straight away went to her office, signed the contract, paid the money, and then rang my husband saying, "Honey, we're doing a production called MEERA on 4th of November."
How did he take it?
He was just obviously, I think he was used to me by then. But we literally had no plan. I was one woman army at that stage. But I just took the story with me everywhere, met thousands of people in past 18 months. Both commercial and non-commercial way, and some ridiculed, some laughed, some believed in it, but there were two words that came across. One was profile, and the graded. So they said it's a great story, it's a great whatever you're trying to portray, but you don't have a profile enough that some big name would like to attach with it. And then they said, well, it's not a graded project. So these two words really stuck to me very hard. So there was only two ways: either I do it or I don't do it. And obviously it had to be I do it. And today we have, as I said, over 300 people. I knowingly and unknowingly, it just came to me yesterday, because I never had that much of time to think about what I'm creating. For me, it was the act, the doing. And yesterday when I was sitting in silence and it came to me, knowingly or unknowingly, we literally, I don't know the statistics, but I really think possibly we have made a history where we see people coming together as volunteers for non-for-profit organizations, for charity organizations, but this is purely, boldly a commercial production. Waldreamer is a commercial entity, and we have majority of the performers and people working in it as volunteers, a sea of people who have come together from multiple various communities, not just Indians. It's not a story just for Indians. It is, it's an English production. Everybody has come together because they all believe in one thing, and that is, the oneness, the togetherness, and the beauty of the art. So yeah, I think we just have, and the magic will be revealed on 4th. I have no doubts about it.
I have no doubts about it either. You're a determined woman, and I love it. The performance itself, it's happening on Sunday at HOTA at 5 p.m.
That's correct. It's called MEERA. We're literally almost sold out. I think it's only one row left or something like that. So if you want to see the magic, you really have to just rush
Act
now.
Quickly. Best of luck with the weekend. I hope you're feeling better.
Thank you.
No doubt the adrenaline will kick in
Yes,
and tide you
right.
over. And look forward to hearing more about your venture to LA next year for the Talent Olympics, the World Championships of Performing Arts, representing Australia. Thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Thank you, Julie, for having me.
Thank you. Aarti Bajaj, who will be heading off to LA. But before that, she's got a huge performance on Sunday. The performance is called MEERA. It's at HOTA on Sunday at 5 p.m. And if you want to take a look and see if you can get one of those last tickets, hota.com.au is where you head to find the tickets there. Expecting 1,100 people there at 5 p.m. on Sunday. Quite amazing.